Arsenal Forest, you look at the game and you think about a champion. Then the champion draws, because I'm calling them already champion, just thinking
Oh wow.
they might win the league if they quit messing around. If I guess so, like quit effing around. But what do you think about the game? You're supposed to be. Everybody's looking at you this year. You guys are winning the league, but you draw 0-0, and there are games coming and harder games coming along.
Right.
So
Yeah, the most important thing about you're going to draw as
No,
the champions.
that's true.
Like, as the champion, like you're not going full tilt. And we're not going to see a 100-point season again for maybe a very, very long time. The Premier League is more competitive now, but that also means that there's been a step down in quality overall, which does make for more exciting as the neutral. But there's a conservative style of playing that's taking place in the Premier League now, whereas unlike the competitive nature of Serie A, where they just kind of, it's all shootouts and it's very exciting. Everybody here is just more so worried about staying in the Premier League to maintain the money and the broadcasting. So what that leads to is a lot of kind of 0-0 draws or 1-1 draws, where even at home, you're slowing down the quality of your performance to just maintain the status quo. And I get that. The most important thing about this, though, is that at least 1 point is better than no points at any given moment. But it's still an advantageous thing when your closest opponent dropped all points.
Yeah.
If it had been a 1-1, then all of a sudden it's a little bit different of a picture. But on the back of that City and Villa, dropping full points, any addition of points is still a good thing.
Yeah.
And these are the games that dig out championships, regardless of if you support the side or not. The ugly wins, or just gaining some sort of point advantage when everybody else does slip up. Everybody's so concerned about if you're next in line loses and you have to win, you're still increasing.
Yeah.
Temper expectations in that way. You're not going to win every single game, but there are things to work out.
Yeah.
And I think that having Inter Milan coming up tomorrow, really, when this airs, it's today.
Yeah.
Where it's out of your domestic league, so there's a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
It's someone that is the caliber that you're going to meet in the knockout rounds anyway. But you've already solidified your advancement in the tournament, so you have nothing to lose.
Yes.
So this is the perfect time to really figure out what your A team in the Champions League is going to look like, but also try new things out. I think that Havertz or Jesus need to start in that game. And I think that maybe Madueke needs to start on the left and Saka on the right.
Yeah.
Because I think that Madueke is making himself undroppable. However, the stats reflect that Saka needs to start as well. So there's something in the attack that's still missing, but the distribution of the ball and the back line itself still look very solid.
Yeah.
They still look like they have Champions Premier League title quality in them in this league, where everybody's sort of stepped down a little bit in terms of their quality. Overall, it's still a good point.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no, but when I look at the team, I look at the game last time, or when was it? Whatever. I wonder why you have AZ and he's on the bench for that long. In fact, Odegaard is great. Don't get me wrong, but managers, especially when you start stepping into the role of being a great manager, there is no player that has a solid or has solidified his place in the team unless the team is kind of built around you. Yeah. What I mean by that, Odegaard can go 3 months missing and this guy will always be number one.
Yeah.
Starting. But I don't think that should be the case, because you have AZ sitting down on the bench. Why did you buy AZ then? Because AZ is, he's good technically. If you want to win, especially playing against Forest, I expect this nil against City, United, but not against small teams, because this is where you actually win your league. Because the big teams you might not win.
You take 3 away from this, so that you can take 1 from somebody else.
Yes,
and I do agree with that, and that's why I'm saying that this wasn't that catastrophic, because even though this is one that you should take 3 from, you took 1 from, but the 2 next in line took 0 away. So really, it didn't close that gap. Like, you could have extended the lead more, but you didn't necessarily. No one's catching up from behind. It's just that you dropped things going forward. But I do agree with you about it not necessarily being the best draw.
Mm.
I don't actually agree that Eze is the answer to like.
No, I'm not saying it's the answer, but
'Cause
when you have this type of game
Yeah.
and you look at it, and I will substitute Saka early because he wasn't doing anything. I will substitute Odegaard early because I want to win. And if you're preparing for the Champions League, then hey, let them rise. Have guys that will play the Champions League. They can go and play the Champions League because you have and the overload of games right now is starting to affect a lot of teams. But there's a reason why you brought out these guys to prepare for this.
Yeah. And it's
you
like,
know,
and you knew that there was going to be competition with for that spot because, you know, at the start of the season we were wondering whether or not he was going to be Eze was going to be a 10 or it was going to be left wing.
Yeah.
It was very quickly understood, not even before games were being played, that it was less about the left wing. Even though he can play up there, but he never really did that much for Palace. It was in the center where he really was able to express himself properly. And then you just look at the roster and like, obviously those two are overlapping in terms of what they contribute, because Rice is guaranteed starting.
Yeah, Rice
is but he also does things that nobody else really does.
Yeah.
Zubimendi's the same way. We didn't really know exactly what his role was going to be. If he was going to be the out-and-out 6 that he was, or if he was going to be a bit more of an 8 and Declan Rice drop back.
Yeah,
Just because you needed to see how they mesh together. So like, though 2 of the 3 midfield are completely singular, and obviously your starting lineup, Eze and Odegaard still have a lot of overlap in what they contribute.
Yeah.
And so we always kind of knew that was going to be an interesting battle for minutes. I was already expecting by the end of the league for their amount of minutes to be closer than farther away, but still Odegaard having the more
minutes.
Overall.
Yeah.
Whereas no one's going to compete with Declan Rice for minutes. For what he does in that midfield. And Zubimendi has obviously played. I think he's missed like 45 minutes in the entire season so far. Hilarious. So yeah, it's like that's just that one position that's open for grabs in the midfield. Yeah, and I mean, some maybe Odegaard doesn't start every single week, and he has to accept that even as like the kind of club captain. But I have not been impressed with Eze overall enough to suggest that he starts in any sort of guaranteed capacity, or starting over Odegaard for any other reason than rotation, and that's usually based on the expected quality of the opponent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I just wondered, like, if you draw against, because in the championship run that you've observed among any championship, you go La Liga, usually, yes, there's small teams that if you go La Liga, usually Levante, that's where they will drop. But Forest, that have been known all this season that people were just trashing them magically. That drawing, so it's like, okay, what didn't work? Because
some teams just have the number of the higher clubs as well. You know, Fulham and West Ham have been a thorn in the side of Arsenal for the last 3 years.
And Everton too, which with their lower block. So that's also another game. I'm hoping to see what will change in the Arsenal tactical formation, or what is the response to the low block. Because right now, and even Gyökeres, although I don't criticize him a lot, I don't think he does a great job in either utilizing him, or B, he's not doing a great job at being a striker, or what's to be expected from him.
Yeah, he's doing a decent job at, because I think it was Declan Rice that was in an interview basically saying he is doing a major part of the job, which is pulling defenders out of position, but he's never pulling them in a position that makes himself a threat as well. And if he's not pulling somebody away, is not really putting himself in the right position for the ball to come to him either. So like, he is to blame for part of his lack of service. He is obviously struggling to adjust to the speed and the quality of the game. But that's a position that, while we still don't have an out-and-out striker that is of the quality of a Premier League winning side, or someone that's competing for the title, it's not a position of like lack of bodies. You have Havertz now, who is not an out-and-out number 9, but has proven that he can score goals. Jesus is not, and he's more of a false 9, but he has more attacking prowess and experience than Havertz or Gyökeres. So you do have other options now, whereas last year and the year before that, you really didn't have anything. It's just unfortunate that the guy that you brought in to really make this thing work is not coming good so far.
Before we finish, I would just probably say either Arsenal has to just kind of accept where everybody can just be a threat
It's a community
in
effort.
than just having a guy that will probably unblock the situation when everything is blocked, which is crazy to say that because there are games where you really need someone like that.
And so you don't want to become a team where your number 9 is reaching for 30 goals and everybody else has like 2 or 3, because if that guy goes down, you're completely screwed.
Yes.
But you also do want your number 9 to have more goals than everybody else in the attacking build up. So it's like you want everybody to finish the season with 10, 11, and then maybe he does have 23, 24, and he's able to knock those home when the rest of the community is not really able to facilitate much.
That's true.